Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Slice. I am none other than your friendly neighborhood soda. Today, I am the soda after Wrestlemania, and as always, joined by my Gorilla Monsoon or my Bobby the Brain Heater, whichever you prefer, Dustyn Dubuque. How are you doing, my man?
Wonderful. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm still recuperating from the massive weekend of wrestling we just had because that was a lot of wrestling I watched. Like I
It
watched the
was.
Hall of Fame, and then I watched night one, and then night two, and I watched any part of NXT Night Stand Deliver while I was airing. I'm pooped.
Yeah, I think I shockingly watched all of it. I think I pulled the entire NXT besides Breaker and Ziggler. That was the only match I didn't watch live.
Yeah,
I
I,
think.
I had to go and like do a little bit of shopping, so I
So
was
did
there for the
I.
first match. I missed the second and third, and then I caught everything else.
That's exactly right. That's where I was too.
Yeah,
And today we have a guest. Look at this guy.
yeah. And if you would like to introduce the guest there,
Yes, this is a buddy of mine, Ryan Cruz. Tell us, Ryan, a little bit about yourself.
Oh gosh, where do I start? Well, you and I, we go, gosh, probably a decade back at this point. I am a local independent professional wrestler. I've been wrestling for coming up on 18 or 19 years now. I started in 2004.
how old were you?
I was 19 at the time when I started training.
Okay, so you're about my age. Okay.
Yeah, so 37, feeling like I'm going on 60, but pro wrestling is the best and the worst at the same time. And yeah, man, it's been a crazy ride, and it's fun talking about it with fans like yourselves and buddies and stuff like that. But yeah, pro wrestling's been probably the biggest thing in my life for the majority of it, and still rolling. Don't know how many matches I got in front of me. I know I got fewer in front of me than behind me, but we're just riding that fun wave until that wave is done.
So, whereabouts do you wrestle? You said you're local independent wrestler.
Yeah, local to Minnesota mostly now. Early on in my career, probably the first 10, 12 years, I was traveling all over the Midwest, East Coast, up into Canada a little bit. I hit Winnipeg and Toronto on the regular. Yeah, so kind of traveled, never really went too far west. Graduated college and kind of only did wrestling for 3 or 4 years after college. Forced into a grown-up job after my car went belly up and had to, unfortunately on the independent scene, you're not making, millions of dollars. You're barely making enough to put food on the table. So had to get a grown-up job. So wrestling's kind of become a more of a hobby at this point, a jobby, I guess I would call it a job hobby. So yeah, just keeping it local to Minnesota and kind of the Dakotas, occasionally into Wisconsin. Yeah, I've grown a large appreciation for being able to sleep in my own bed at night.
I can imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget like just being friends with you for so long. Then like because I didn't know you in the early years of you doing the things and how much traveling was involved, even for an indie guy.
Yeah, me and 2 other local wrestlers. We were on the road every Thursday, Friday, heading for Friday, Saturday shows, occasionally Sunday shows, bringing my textbooks on the road so I could study for college exams and stuff, and
Jesus.
just living the absolute best life. It was a real dope time to be alive.
Oh, I can only imagine. I like looking back on it. It makes me wonder. Maybe I should have gone and done wrestling school when I was younger, and tried to do it. Now I'm 34 and 300 pounds. It ain't fucking happening. But
I don't know. Have you been to an indie show, Soda? It could.
Yeah, but
it
I
could
get
definitely
gas,
happen.
I get gas quicker than the Ultimate Warrior running to the weight ring. Okay, just watching these guys, I'm like,
it is exhausting. There's no cardio like pro wrestling cardio.
I can imagine.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, even I know we'll get into it later, but I thought Soda and I talked about. I don't know if you watched Austin on Rich Eisen when he was on a couple weeks ago.
No.
It was interesting because this is when people were speculating what was going to happen with Austin, and the one thing I caught and when he was just being bullshitting was he goes, I had to hit the ropes and I had to get myself back in, that feeling, and I was like, that's proof he's wrestling because like you said, there is no feeling like what you're doing when you're in the ring because
man,
you just don't get it, right?
Right. Yeah, that's 100% accurate. I mean, you can run on treadmills, you can hit the elliptical, you can hit the row machine, but just the simple act of running the ropes and dropping down and getting out. Like, the best, I guess, exercise I could say doing it is burpees, and we all know how miserable burpees are. So throw in a 250-pound guy, slapping you across the chest or punching you in the mouth.
Yeah.
Things get tiring.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm glad. Maybe I'm glad I didn't go down there.
So I guess before we get into Mania, I guess it'd be hard for the fans, and especially Soda, who doesn't know you at all, besides this 5.5 minutes. What are a couple of the matches and talents you've worked with over the years that us fans and anybody who will watch this might find interesting?
One match that really I was big into the tag wrestling early on in my career. I wrestled under the tag team, the North Star Express, as an homage to the Minnesota North Star hockey team.
Right on.
Came out with the jerseys and everything, had our own names on the back. It was real dope, but we gained a lot of attention wrestling the Kings of Wrestling, Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, and Claudio Castagnoli, who is Cesaro.
Holy shit.
We had a phenomenal match with them in the ECW arena for a company called Chikara. They're big on the East Coast, and they ventured to the Midwest a number of years ago. But that match really put us on the map. We were actually led to the ring by JJ Dillon for that match.
No,
yeah, it was super dope. And he's like, after the match, he's like, I had no idea who you guys were going in. But what you guys do, you do very well. And, we're a couple of 5'9". It was amazing. It was totally amazing.
How does that come about? You end up walking to the ring with JJ fucking Dillon.
That was set up by the head booker of Chikara, Mike Quackenbush. He's like, I want to bring, we worked really refined in our mic skills at that time. So we needed a bit of a mouthpiece and just to kind of bring extra attention to the show, to the match. JJ Dillon bringing the North Star Express down to the ring. So that was real dope.
Interesting. You're the poor goddamn horseman.
And you better believe I have a picture somewhere of us all, marking.
Oh, you got the whole thing, right? You can't not.
Yeah.
You could never take a picture next to JJ Dillon and not hold it up. You just couldn't do it.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Other matches we were involved with, I've worked with Austin Aries. I've worked with AJ Styles.
Big of a dick as I hear.
He was actually really, really kind to me as a fellow Minnesotan. He put me over massively when he absolutely did not have to. It's one of my favorite matches to look back on. I was super new and super green, maybe 2 years in at that point.
That's pretty awesome.
Worked with Sami Zayn back when he was on the Indies.
El Generico.
Yep, as El Generico. Gosh, who else? It's hard,
I was just gonna say, you're a veteran wrestler now. It all blends together.
It really does. So at my shoot job, they had me in one of our just kind of team get-togethers, pull up a match on YouTube and just kind of talk about it as we were watching it. And as I was going through YouTube, I'm like, wow, there are matches on here that I have zero recollection of, absolutely no idea. So maybe there's some head stuff going on there, but I'd say probably one of my most favorite memories, though, it was twofold. It was on a show up in Duluth, Minnesota, really northern part of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And both Terry Funk and Mick Foley were a part of the show as kind of not really working, but just kind of, one was a special guest referee and one was like a special enforcer.
They were attractions.
And 100%, yeah. And so during the intermission, me and my tag partner were big heels at this time, so we're just full of spunk. We're 5'9" and working the Highlanders that night, so we're just trying to get over as much as we can as these heels. And our spot on the gimmick table is right next to Mick Foley, so we're like, we got prime real estate to get some of the kind of the shared attention there. And he comes up to us afterwards. He goes, you kids really got spunk. That's really great. And so we get involved in the main event to kind of intervene. And both Mick Foley and Terry Funk come and run us off and are punching us. And I'm marking the out because as Mick Foley's punching me, he's doing the and Terry Funk potatoed the shit out of my tag partner. Just a straight punch right to the forehead, but we're marking the crap out.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. The next week, we're wrestling in Michigan, and we walk into the locker room. Mick Foley's a part of this show, and I'm like, oh, cool. It'd be good to see him again. Zero expectation that he's going to remember me. We walk into the locker room, and he goes, it's you guys. I was just talking about the tag team from Minnesota, the spunky kids from Minnesota. That's you guys. What's up? My whole life made right there.
That's it. Shit. That's all you need.
Mick Foley, he didn't remember our names, but he remembered the tag
Doesn't
team
matter.
from Minnesota.
But still, he remembered you guys as the Spunky Kids from Minnesota. It's like,
Yeah,
so
amazing.
is it true? Okay, so is it true? Like, did you prefer wrestling as a heel over a face? Because I've always heard that wrestling as a heel is so much more fun.
It's not as great for the merchandise sales. I will say that baby faces will always sell more merch, but it is so much fun telling a kid, they should have been swallowed, or telling an old lady that you'll break their hip or something like that. It's being a heel is the ultimate.
So you were MJF
aggression
or
release.
MJF apparently.
Yeah, I kind of I was babyface for the longest time up until like 4 or 5 years ago, and promoters just kind of discovered that I could do a heel that they liked and appreciated, and I kind of adopted a little bit of like a Conor McGregor kind of attitude. Just
that's cool.
Full of my own shit, and 5'9", 185 pounds, thinking that I'm 6'2", 220. So yeah, it's just so much fun, and you have so much freedom because as a heel, you're really the quarterback of the match. You kind of you're in control. You kind of call things as they go, but just being able to feed off the crowd and get that solid boo, or just like the collective groan whenever you say something that's really stupid or get the victory. It's just I love it as much as I love getting the big pop, the big cheer. Getting booed and getting yelled at and getting like 80-year-old women with walkers to take swings at me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you would have been a favorite of Jim Cornette's what you're saying.
Straight up.
Is that somebody, have you ever met him?
I don't think I've ever met Jim Cornette. It's not memorable enough. So I'm going to say no, I haven't. Yeah.
He's a guy like I could care two shits about his modern wrestling opinion, but I would still love to meet him because I would learn so much from him because I'm an amateur wrestling historian at heart. So just to be able to like sit there and listen to the stories it would be a dream for me. Like one of my favorite podcasts let's do is Stories with Bradshaw and Briscoe because that's what you get. And
totally.
I commented on it once. I listened to this as like the equivalent of the car rides with the veterans, and Briscoe actually retweeted me and said that's what we're going for. I was like,
nice.
That is why that's a good podcast too. By the way.
Totally.
It does feel that way.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Some of the people you get on, they get on there. You're like, really? They're friends with these people? Like Bill Alfonso was on last week.
I know. I gotta keep up with that podcast more often.
Gail Kim is on this week.
Ooh.
They had Butchwhacker Luke on a couple weeks ago,
of course,
which was pretty funny.
The
Swingers was good. Teddy Longs was hilarious.
I bet.
Oh yeah,
that had to be.
Yeah,
he's
on
such a character.
Podcast, but that's one I recommend if you're like me and you like to listen to the stories of the business. That's the podcast.
It is
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
But enough about that. Let's hop into the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. Oh my god. I'm tired. I'm glad we're done with that word.
I was watching the first night and they kept saying it, and my wife was in the background and was hanging out, and she goes, "Why do they keep saying that?" I go, "That's how they're describing it this year."
Because Vince loves it.
That's the word.
Vince loves it. You should have heard back when they played Limp Bizkit. Get every single chance they could get. Limp Bizkit.
I mean, they were the WWE's favorite band.
Yeah, like how many pay-per-views were they the main song for?
Yeah,
I think at least 2 Manias.
And I mean, they're still, in my opinion, like the My Way is still the best promo they've ever done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just funny. Again, and I watched the Pat McAfee show, and he said it on there. He admitted it. He goes, Vince told me he liked it, so we just rolled with it.
Yeah,
and if Vince likes something, he's going to make sure it happens on TV.
He's going to beat it to death.
Yeah, to death. That's what he does.
We'll probably be talking about that in a bit. So night one, like, what were your takeaways from it? Like, for me, night one is actually one of the best Manias I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. Like, I had so much fun watching night one.
I don't know if you want to go, Ryan, but I think night one, and again, this isn't putting over it's shockingly some of the best WWE ever. Like, I was sitting there and I'm like, I'm not trying to be this like super pro WWE guy, because I am sometimes, but like I remember sitting there and I'm like fully invested in what's happening. And nothing's bad. and I know you'll go through it a little bit, Soda, once we get into this, but like, you can't blame the first match.
No.
It's like on what happened. So like, as like I remember I was going, I'm like, this show is like, maybe it's because WWE doesn't put on consistently good shows, but like this is like the top notch program. This is what do you? I was thinking, I'm like, when's the last time I saw Mania that was this good?
It had everything. It had great women's matches. It had your surprisingly good celebrity match. It had, your nostalgia act. I mean, what more could you ask from that night? Like, it was really good from opening to end.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like any Mania, there are some hiccups and some burps in there, but for the most part, night one was just a full-on success, and I would say, yeah, that's definitely the better of the two nights. Some of the best wrestling just overall that I've seen in a really long time. And even the matches that weren't as good were still high quality WWE matches.
Yeah, like for me, that's the Charlotte and Ronda match. Like, I mean, comparing it to Becky and Bianca, that one was more technical, more fluid. Whereas Charlotte Ronda, you could tell like it was very more clunky, but it worked for who was in the ring.
Exactly. And I see so much kind of negativity about Charlotte and Ronda. But if you think about what Ronda has done and going from being a legitimate fighter to coming into a completely different avenue of entertainment, I'm actually pretty impressed with how well she did. Was it a 5-star match, a 4-star match? Absolutely not. 2.5 at best, 3 if I'm being kind. But I was entertained by it. I didn't fast forward any part of it. I was fully invested.
If I'm going to pick a Charlotte Ronda match, I probably would go with Survivor Series from a couple years ago as the one I would recommend. But this one, it wasn't bad at all.
I agree.
No, and it's just it does fall into the thing of like, and again, we're going to get probably into a couple of the bigger moments. What do you do? Right, something has to be less. Something has to be less.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that happened to be less where it fell.
And I mean, like, look where it fell. It fell between Cody Rhodes' return and Stone Cold's first match in 19 years. Yeah. Like,
what do you do?
Not even Charlotte Flair could like save that spot.
No. Right. We call this match the popcorn match. Like, you go get yourself some popcorn, but if you stuck around for it, you got probably what you expected.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And I mean, same with the Drew McIntyre Happy Corbin match. Like, that one was exactly what you expected. Although we had the nice surprise of him slicing the shit out of the ropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And am I mistaken, or did they pipe in a bang when that happened?
I think they did. I think they had like an explosion or something.
Okay, I would hope so, because I'm like, I know there's tension on the ropes, but not that much.
Not that much.
Yeah. It just kind of bums me out though with what they've kind of done with Drew. And like he was the pandemic champion. He hasn't really been back in that picture yet. And to see him, have basically what I'd call a throwaway match at Mania. I mean, he's still getting the Mania payday, which is sweet, but to go from, fighting Lesnar in the main event to now Happy Corbin, it's like it's kind of a bummer.
And like, that's something against Happy Corbin. Like, I'm actually one that seems to be one of the few Happy Baron Corbin defenders out there. But I mean, like, exactly. Like, he's not on Drew McIntyre's level. I mean, like, how that feud kind of played out a long time ago for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, and I mean, we're going to get into this once we get into night 2, but like, with the possible Roman, rumor mill going around, I mean, Drew, you would assume, is getting back elevated again, right? That has to be high on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was getting it anyway. I think he was getting elevated anyway, but
like, I mean, you've got Cody, but I mean, he just returned. Like, that's a SummerSlam match.
Yeah. Cody's got he's doing the same shtick. His Cody shtick. I got to rise up. I have to get there. I have to climb. All that.
It works better in WWE for me than it did in AEW.
Well, because he came in as the top dog.
Yeah.
How do you climb a ladder when you're the CFO or the CEO of the company? I don't know.
Well, that and just the talent pool. Like, AEW is very deep in talent, but in that main event, like, established caliber, WWE has so many more options there for Cody. And so I think this shtick, I agree, is going to work better in WWE, and I'm really interested to see, because I mean, him and Seth was great. Obviously, we'll get into that. I think him and Drew would be phenomenal. I think that would be really good.
Kevin Owens on the dark match after Raw. I don't know if you guys saw it.
I saw some like little clips of it, and that had to be
Kevin Owens and Young Bucks pose, but I just
Kevin Owens is such a gem. Like,
for sure.
And he's in such an unfortunate position because I don't buy him as the company champion, but if they could actually make the Intercontinental title like what the Miz was doing for it, that would be great.
Yeah. Don't get me started on those mid-card titles. That's just
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, fuck. Like, they're rarely on WrestleMania nowadays. And I mean, like, you had, I mean, sure, it could have been looked at in poor taste, but you literally just had the winner of one of the greatest IC title matches in WrestleMania history just passed away. Why not do a one-off Razor Ramon Memorial ladder match for the IC title? Like, you had it right there.
and three main characters that they left off of Mania that have been perfect for it: Ali, Finn Balor, and Ricochet. That in a ladder match at Mania.
Yeah. Like, I personally would have traded that. Like, for me, I probably would have traded that for Lashley almost.
Oh yeah.
But
that actually is a match I skipped over in Mania.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually now that you say it, I also did not watch that match.
Yeah, I did.
I realized that I jumped in. I forgot what I did, but I did not watch that.
Yeah. We were messaging, and you're like, "I just got home live." I'm like, "Well."
Yeah, and I rewound. Yeah, I did. I got home live, and then I watched the opener, and then I'm like, "Oh, Lashley almost. I can catch up now. I'll skip past it." I realized I never went back to it. So I guess if we're going to talk about a couple of the main things on night one, I think the first thing to ask, and especially it'd be great to ask somebody who actually does this, are you as shocked by how awesome Logan Paul is at this?
Right.
100% unnatural. Like
unreal.
So yeah, it defies like what
level, but still pretty good.
So good.
I think if he wanted to make this his vocation, or at least come back on a semi-regular basis, maybe hit the big four or one or two of them a year, I buy it.
And there's rumors of that actually happening. Actually,
yeah. He did so good. Like, he looks the part. He's in great shape. He's an established, like, hated personality
in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
It
was impressive.
I don't know, Ryan, if you are. I don't think you are sort of like a boxing guy, but I have one of my best buddies, Justin's a hardcore boxing guy, and I mean he hates Logan Paul with vitriol hate. He literally texted me during Mania, and he wasn't even watching, and he goes, "Can you make WWE keep this guy?" Because like he wants him so far out of boxing.
Well, yeah, they bought their way into main events
in
the boxing world, and they buy their own victories, whatever. But
like other boxers,
every boxer ever.
There is that too. But I think Bad Bunny really set a standard for how these celebrities are supposed to come in, and I think it's making them take it more seriously, or at least train them more seriously to put on a more impressive show, so we aren't ending up with a Snooki situation.
Right. Yeah, because like before Bad Bunny last year, there's really only two that I can recall in Mania history, celebrities wrestling, that I'm like, not WrestleMania, but WWE, where I guess recall saying they had good matches. One was Lawrence Taylor, surprisingly had a good match, and the other was Stephen Amell. Yeah, and the other was Stephen Amell from SummerSlam a few years ago.
Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, the dude could do it, and then now look at him, he's a star of a wrestling drama series. Like,
yeah.
That's the one thing I gave this Mania. I know a lot of people were complaining that there was 3 celebrity matches on it, but I'm like, Logan Paul's understands wrestling and proved that he's good at it. And we all know and a huge following. McAfee, we all know, has been training for this before for years. And then I'm like, Knoxville, as goofy as it was, I followed that guy on his social media. He took this shit seriously.
For sure.
Yeah.
He did not. He knew everything. I watched his. I watched the 24/7 on the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should watch it. They follow Knoxville, and part of it, he knows. You know how like we all know wrestling when celebrities come in. We have the Summer Fest where they just don't know the lingo. They don't know what's going on. They don't know the talent. Knoxville fully knew. He fully was aware. Do I think he was fully aware a year ago? No. But do I think when he became part of it, he told himself, I need to know who these people are. I need to actually know what wrestling is. And like I'm like, this is so much better when you have people that are pros at this.
And what's funny is it wasn't until after the Rumble they're like, we might actually have a match here.
Right.
That was never the plan.
Yeah.
Was never the plan.
Yeah.
And I think
I can't wait to talk about that match. That was so much fun.
So fun. So fun.
It reminded me of the Attitude Era hardcore shenanigans. It really did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to night one. So like Bianca versus Becky, like that, It's like right here with Cody Seth for like match of the night for me. Like that was a spectacular match and well worth the 28-second win at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way they built off of that, just with Becky starting really hot and just pretty much in control of about 90% of this match. And so I love the continuous build there. But yeah, it was so well put together. Becky Lynch is phenomenal. And they're so lucky to have a female that is such an athlete like Bianca. She is just stellar.
She is a freak of nature. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I mean that in a really good way. Like, I when she was in NXT, like, I didn't quite understand her. I'm like, what the fuck does EST mean? And then I felt like an idiot when I figured it out.
Yeah.
But no, like, when she the first Rumble she was in, I became a fan of her right there. Like, I mean, I saw what everybody saw, and I was like, yeah, she's a star.
Yeah, I was always a fan of her in NXT, but there's one specific spot she did that just I will forever watch anything she does is when she gorilla pressed Sasha Banks last year, walked up the stairs, and then threw her in the ring. We've never seen anything like that. She can fly. She's got power. She's awesome, just awesome visually looking.
She's the total package.
Totally, she's a star.
Yeah,
she is. She's.
Pretty new, isn't she? Like she's only been in it like not even 6 years, maybe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Like well, I have a buddy of mine who literally watched wrestling until like 2006. And then like 6 months ago, he texted me and he's like, I think I'm going to get back into wrestling. And I was like, okay, you should. That's interesting. And so like around he watched day one. That was the first one and his first thing he took away from day one, literally he went in cold. He didn't watch wrestling for 15 years. And one of the first takeaways was, I love Bianca Belair.
How could you not love her?
He loves her. I mean, that was his first new person that he knew that he just jumped on. And he's like, this is who I'm into. This is my favorite. I don't care. So that just proves the thing about her. She has that it, you know?
Yeah. And the second rope 450 splash. Are you kidding me?
That is
holy shit. And like
insane.
So fluid too. Like, my Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that I think the like main top level Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, Bayley, Belair, and a couple other ladies, Rhea, that WWE has that are better than every other women's wrestler that I watch. They are fluid. Yeah. There is this huge gap between this like 8 ladies in WWE and like everyone else I watch. Like they are just so good.
As much as I like Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker and stuff, that you're like WWE has the best women's division. Just unfortunately, they don't know what to do with it. That's the only problem.
Exactly.
I'm of the mindset like I don't think this would be personally. I don't want to ever see Charlotte wrestle for the title again because she doesn't need it. She's transcended the title, and I want to see her just go into just a regular standard blood feud. Like that's what I want to see her do, not for the title again. I'm tired of that personally. Yeah. Not that she's not great. It's just been there, done that.
Absolutely. Yeah, she doesn't need, it's kind of like she's reached like Undertaker status in the women's division. Taker never needed a belt. Never needed a belt.
Yeah.
But they'll keep putting on her.
Actually, I would probably compare her more to Kane, yeah. Like, I mean, that's a guy who's only won 2 world heavyweight titles in his life, but he's still like a massive legend.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. No, but that thank you for remembering the 450 splash from the second row, because that's insane.
Oh, that's crazy.
Lord. That's such a short amount of space.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that
I don't think.
Yeah, like there are people from the top rope that are still skimming their knees or collapsing. She hit that flat.
Mm-hmm. She's good.
It reminds me of when AJ Styles hits it from his springboard. Like how smooth
that springboard flip, by the way, that Styles does is to me always a like one of the moves that I get into every time.
Oh
yeah, it's crazy. And I'm surprised that more people haven't used it previously.
It seems I don't know. I know you do moves because that's what you do. That seems like a difficult type of thing to do.
Well, the springboard is crazy and kind of sometimes a mind of itself. I mean, ropes are varying in tightness, and not all ropes are wiped off in between matches like they are in WWE. So it's often a gamble, and then throw in a 450, which is a gamble in and of itself from a stable jumping position. So you combine those together, and the amount of times that he's nailed that perfectly is astonishing.
Well, heck, you could go back early in his career with the shooting styles splash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell could anybody do that and make it look so smooth? I want to see him bust it out one more time before he retires.
One more.
Too
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he might bust it out against Edge, but unfortunately not.
No.
We got another match coming. You're fine.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I can't wait to see where that stable goes. Like, I'm curious
I know.
if the rumors of Rhea Ripley joining her to be true, because I think she would be perfect in there.
It's going to be like the Wish.com version of House of Black.
Right?
Gosh, what
Which
an
is
idiot.
itself is the Wish.com version of the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, nice.
Hey, Brody King, you're the worst. Yeah, good job. So then I guess the next one, I'm sure you're there, Soda. So we all assumed Cody.
Oh yeah.
But it was one of the things that you didn't, like Soda and I have talked about for weeks. You don't believe it until you see it.
Yeah, you don't believe it, but you don't trust WWE to like make the right call. Like
Right.
I heard far too many rumors of like, what if it's Shane McMahon?
Yeah.
Or what if it's Gable Stevenson or something
Or
like
the
that?
Undertaker is another one.
Or Taker, yeah.
Yeah.
But they did it right.
They
Yeah,
pulled the trigger
going
perfect.
into it, you're hearing the rumors that Vince wants the American Nightmare, and you're like, "There's no fucking way! Like this is WWE." And then to hear that wrestling has more than one family, and then you hear like his theme song from AEW, and he comes up through the stage like he did there, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like I can't remember that ever happening where a wrestler comes from one big company to the other, but with the whole package that they had. Like everyone had altered it at one point or another, but he's the only one that I can remember. Like it's the same.
To me, it's the biggest showing up since Jericho. It's that big, and the emotion behind it, and just the roar of 70,000 people the second his head peeks up above that stage was insane. Like sometimes wrestling is just like the perfect amount of cool meets emotion.
From Raw, did you see the fuck up from Raw? They had, because the stage was on the ground, right? They had to put a platform in the thing. But so when his music hit and they cut to the thing, you just see his like head sticking out of the platform.
Funny.
And you watch him, he's just like this. He's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
He's like, this interest will change next week.
At least they got it right for Mania.
That's it. That's all that matters.
Just to to see him come up through the stage and to see the fans. He did everything he set out to do and more. He wanted to go make a name for himself, and he made himself one of the biggest stars that was not in WWE. He earned that ovation, to me.
Absolutely.
And again, it's like, I know a lot of people jump ship from WWE to AEW, but this is the guy who set up the one-off 10,000-seat arena show.
Because somebody told him he couldn't.
He's the one who found the billionaire. He's the one who found 3 other guys to say we should work with this billionaire to start a show.
He was the face of AEW behind in terms of the corporate presentation of it for a long time.
That's insane. That 3.5 years later, there's on Mania. Like that is a huge moment in wrestling. Like I think we're downplaying it a little bit. I'm like trying to think of like. The closest thing I get to monumental crate is like Scott Hall jumping the rail.
And that's what I was going to say. It's the closest thing we'll probably ever get to. You guys wanted a war, you got one. Like
and that's like what a lot of like fair weather wrestling fans don't understand is that he left, created competition for Vince, wanted to come back, and people are like, why would Vince let him back? If you're going to get Vince's respect anyway, it's to go out, do something that people think that you can't do, make a massive name for yourself, and come back a bigger star than you ever would have been under WWE.
And like I've seen people like, oh, he's a hypocrite for coming back for all the times he bashed WWE. I'm like,
give me a break.
He's not the first, and he's not the last. Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan himself did it. Bret Hart did it.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it.
Come
so it's
on.
like it's because it's Cody, but
it's funny. It's just crazy.
Oh, and what's fun? He was unscripted on Raw. He did not have a scripted promo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, did you see? I know I was reading some cliff notes. I was going to listen to it, but I didn't get time of his press conference after Mania.
Yeah, I watched some of that.
And I'm sure you guys read that Vince flew to his house.
So did Bruce Pritchard.
And Bruce Pritchard did.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
they flew to go. Apparently, it was all Bruce. I guess Bruce was the big reason why this really happened. He was
I
the
believe
gap.
it. I believe it.
He was the gap filler on that because
As much as
Bruce and Cody
as much
and
as
Bruce
Bruce
and
Pritchard gets shit, he knows what's good for business.
Yep.
well, and Bruce and Dusty were super close, so like that was
Sure.
the big shtick. And let's throw it out there. Not only and then Seth and Cody kill each other in this match.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah, that's
Can I
why
throw out
it's
there-
neck and neck with Bianca and Becky for me. Like, they're holy shit.
like, again, as that suplex over the
Yeah.
The
top.
reverse.
That
The
is
reverse, and then
that's an
into
ins-
the reverse Falcon Arrow. It's like
that's an insane fucking bump, by the way. Like
Well, it's
Cody,
Cody. You have to expect
Cody
this
looked
to be
like he
Cody Rhodes
died
bump.
on that.
Like,
I was like,
what
this is insane.
was his last insane bump in AEW? It was
Yeah, I
the
know.
frickin' cutter
Yeah,
from the
that's
ladders.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
that dude will do anything to put on a show.
Yeah, and the finish to that match with one finish, two finish,
Two finish.
the Dusty spot,
Yeah.
that
I
got
thought-
me in the feels.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, man, Dusty, and then boom, finish
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
What
Perfect
really got
ending.
me though was when he did the Stardust cartwheel, because I never in a
Yes.
million years thought he would do that.
I
I
love
think
it.
that legitimately popped Seth.
Oh yeah,
I think it
probably.
legitimately popped him.
I wouldn't doubt it. And like Cody has come out and said, like, that is the one thing I told him I do not want to ever go back to is Stardust. What does he do in his first match? He does the cartwheel
That's Cody.
Yeah,
in the moment, and you know what? He looks like he's finally where he belongs. Like you've seen it in the past that he had the potential to be a star. He's a star.
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, and everybody's
Absolutely.
saying, like, the naysayers out there expecting, oh, he'll get to WWE and he'll be a mid-carder next week.
I hope not.
They do not make Cody a mid-carder off what just happened at Mania.
No.
It's not possible. This guy is being shot to the moon.
Mhm.
He's going to be your main eventer for the next 3 to 4 years.
For sure. And if you
That's
keep
how it
having
is.
him do unscripted promos like he did on Monday night, he's going to be the best promo they have in WWE.
Hopefully.
Plus, he's somebody you could easily see them putting the title on and being a face of the company because he knows how to handle himself. Like, watch him in his interviews. Like, the dude knows what he's doing.
He's good
Mhm.
politically, man, and we all know that's a big part of it. You
Yeah.
gotta play the game. And why do you think they liked Roman all them years ago?
Right?
He plays the game really well.
And speaking of the game, what I found pretty cool was Cody said that Triple H was literally the last person to come see him in his dressing room before they went out for the match.
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm pumped.
And like he said, he's always been a big fan of Triple H, and that's just what wrestlers do, I guess, right? Go after each other.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you see someone that's in your spot, and Triple H has always been the man.
Yeah, he's like he's always been my favorite wrestler. Whenever people say, "Oh, because he's the boss's son-in-law," I'm like, you clearly do not know your wrestling history.
No kidding.
Like, you're in an old territory that didn't have a family member or a really good friend at the top. Nick Bockwinkel in AWA, the Von Erichs in WCCW, the Hearts in Stampede. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it now. It's still nepotism all over the place. Give me a
Of
break.
course.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker's the NXT champ. Come on.
Yeah. Probably the best line. Probably the best line of the Hall of Fame is like, I know I'm jeopardizing my career by giving my Uncle Scott a live mic.
It's funny. It's funny, Ryan, that you did the Besides you, I've talked to 2 other people that are indie guys. They do not like Braun Breaker.
Is it?
No.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, is that a thing?
The work is not there.
That's what everyone says. Yeah.
The promos are tight. They're not like he's not loosey goosey during them. Like it really feels like Rick Steiner is reincarnated and should never have been a main eventer. Like
He's
it's like a copy and paste.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that he's a great look, and I think would
And athletic
if he was if he was a wrestler 15 years ago, he would have been hidden in a tag team and never would have been considered main event or anything like that. He was pushed too far too fast, and
for sure. His debut was only his second ever professional match.
Yeah.
It's
like so. I totally get it.
So
I 100% get what you're saying. Like you watch him, like you see it all there, but he's not there yet.
Yeah, there's potential, no doubt. There's potential, but where he's at now, he should not be there until like 2027,
Right.
2028.
I do agree. That's the whole NXT 2.0
Well,
problem.
and they're just chucking and they're skyrocketing the hell out of him anyway.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna shoot that guy to the moon way fast.
Like already a 2-time NXT champion, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I mean, I personally do enjoy watching him. Watching him kind of does remind me of the early '90s Steiners, like the way he does the Steiner line and like how he does the Frankenstein stuff. It's more I like him more because it just reminds me of those days, even though he's nowhere
It's the
near
nostalgia factor, yeah.
for sure, and he's nowhere near like those guys. Like Scott Steiner, circa 1989 to 1992. It's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For how big he was, especially too.
Right. Yeah.
What about
down
The
those
roids
guys
on
after
top
that.
of roids.
It was no,
All natural.
all
yeah.
natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody looks literally like a rock like that. That's just
Well, and then I guess the last thing on night one is how freaking fun it was to see Austin.
so.
Am I jumping?
Was anybody really convinced that there was not going to be a match coming out of this?
No.
Like,
I
that's-
think
Or at
that's
least
how
a
they-
brawl?
Yeah, that's how they like built it up. You know, in the first like
Yeah.
Austin accepting this challenge, or whatever. So I'm under the assumption there's going to be a brawl like right away, and then it's labeled as the KO show, and then Austin comes out. He's got the knee braces on, his wrists are taped.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
But still, bought it hook, line, and sinker just because I'm like, it's stone cold, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
But
could
there's
you not?
But I'll tell you what though, with the Cody Rhodes pop,
Mm.
you think you're over, but then you hear a Stone Cold Steve Austin reaction in Texas. That was incredible.
It was
That
so
pop
nice they had to do it
was-
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows if they even had it planned for the second night? But
No,
that
they
pop
didn't.
was
No, they didn't.
yeah,
They went to Austin afterwards, like, hey, you want to do this with us? Like that was never planned.
yeah. I mean, that pop was just
Oh my
stupid
lord!
good.
And especially when everyone realized, oh fuck, we're getting a match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and with the perfect guy in Kevin Owens.
right. And I mean, you know that Austin, he's clearly not the old Stone Cold, the
Right.
back in the day, but it was still Stone Cold. Like you still got the greatest hits. He could still do them,
You did.
except to Vince McMahon apparently.
Yeah.
No, he even took a fucking suplex on the concrete. Like,
Yeah, that
what
was
an
a big
animal.
stick. But I know everybody was shocked. They're like, "Did Stone Cold just take his concrete suplex?"
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, no, you're right.
You know,
Kevin Owens is the perfect opponent for him because he knows how to play that kind of role. He's great at it.
Yeah.
There we go.
And he's
Kevin
just a
Owens.
bumping fiend.
I just gonna say, KO made Austin look awesome.
Right.
That was like Shawn Michaels Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Not
He
quite
was-
as over the top campy, but like similar.
yeah, he was all over for Stone
Hey,
Cold.
Dustin.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
yeah.
I 100% like everything you just said there. I 100% agree with. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun. Like, and again, so did I get on this.
Same with night two.
was
It
not
wasn't
terrible.
great, but it had a lot of fun in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like kind of what Soda and I we preach a lot on our show is sometimes you just gotta have fun with wrestling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if you're not having fun watching Stone Cold pound beers in
And-
Texas at Mania,
Yeah.
And
Come on.
what an advertisement for Stone Cold IPA.
Right. Which
Just
I
amazing.
think they were selling at the arena.
oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
it's definitely available. It's like I wonder. I lost count after probably a dozen and a half of how many beers he had thrown to him, and
yeah.
drank maybe a collective one full beer.
I know, right? You watch him drinking, like, how much of that is actually going into his mouth? That's a waste of beer.
Such a waste of beer.
Tell I've been older.
So, I'll be right back. You guys
Yeah,
keep
no
going.
worries. Yeah, no, like I 100%, Justin. Like when he took that suplex, it was like, holy fuck! Like you shouldn't be doing that, man. You need to keep him in a bubble.
Like I saw that and I was just like, cringe.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think
take
everyone-
care of all. And that was only like halfway through what ended up being the full match.
Mhm.
So like
They were-
please
They went
don't
almost
hurt
14
Austin.
minutes, which is pretty good.
Oh, hang on,
Yeah.
boys. Hang on. You guys ready?
Nice.
Bro.
I've never seen that in Canada.
It's the Pilsner or the lager
it-
that he was drinking.
That's available in Wisconsin?
It is.
Ooh, I wrestle in Wisconsin on Saturday. I might have to find a liquor store to
Where do you
Nice.
wrestle at?
Shell Lake.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
That's
a
really
payday.
north, man.
So
It's a
okay.
payday.
Yeah. It's,
I don't think you're gonna find it. I found it in Eau Claire.
oh. Well, way to be the bearer of bad news.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, like I
Sorry.
said, I can't get it in Canada, so whatever.
Yeah, they don't sell it in Minnesota, which is weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really weird.
Yeah, that's the
Minnesota sucks
shitty. That's
sometimes.
one of the few shitty things about Canada is we don't get a lot of the cool stuff. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like WWE Network, I have to have cable to get the network.
Is that crazy?
Ugh. Weird.
There's a benefit instead of like I can watch this all on my TV. I don't have to hook it up to my computer unless I want to watch the back catalog. Then I got to hook up my computer, which pisses me off. But
Sure.
All right, so
and yeah,
Night
no,
two?
we did talk about it, Dustyn. Like, yeah, Cody's return was spectacular. He deserved it. I cannot wait to see what they do with him.
number 2 merch seller on WWE Shop right now.
Yep,
Yeah, I love how they had like 3-4 shirts that were just ready.
they
for
were
him.
first. They went on sale right after the match was over.
Brilliant.
I bought
Brilliant.
I might get the one with Pharaoh on it. I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to
bought
take
the
another
one-
look at it, but I definitely want a Cody shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Me too.
I jumped on it.
It's still just you bought it.
Yep, I bought one.
Nice. But still, I wanted to get rid of that fucking neck tattoo. It's such an eyesore.
It's so bad. I know. I saw a great tweet during the match. It was like, "Does anybody else think Cody's tattoo is getting bigger?" And I'm like, "God, I do. I think that. Yes, I
Really?
do." Yeah, I'm like, because they said that. I'm like, and then I thought about it. I looked at it. I'm like, God, it does look like it's getting bigger. No, it's just an eyesore, but it's so funny.
For sure.
So funny.
So yeah, and then on to night number 2, which started off with a pretty damn good triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team titles. But my favorite moment happened afterwards, and it was when Gable Stevenson was in the ring, and what's his face? Chad Gable tried to insult him, and the other 4 were like, "Woo!" and just backed right out the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually Chad Gable trained to be a pro wrestler originally where I got trained. I was one of his second or third to last matches on the Indies before he went to the Olympics and then went to WWE.
I was at his very last indie
I
match.
don't know that.
Yeah.
His last indie match was in Eau Claire.
Yeah.
I was at that show. That's about a town, about a half an hour away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody knew it was his last match. He got signed like that week, and then he was going to the Olympics. But he already had his contract for WWE when he was on his way out.
Yes, I didn't know any of that. Like I
Something
didn't
like
know that he was a pro wrestler.
Wasn't he from Wisconsin, Ryan? Isn't he Wisconsin?
No,
guy?
he's Albertville.
Oh, is he
Albertville High
Minnesota?
School. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a St. Michael Albertville state champion.
Yeah, he's legit.
Yeah, and Gable Stevenson suplex was pretty good.
Dude, yeah, 100%. But
You get that guy
I just love the shush. I'll never get over that. I love it.
Me either. It's like Vicky Guerrero, not as grating, but it's like Vicky Guerrero's "excuse me." Like you cannot help but pop for that, even if you're booing.
Yeah.
And let's also throw out how fun these 3 tag teams are right now.
They work so well together.
They're so good. Like, I need another month of this, please.
Yeah.
I go into that WrestleMania Backlash. I want this. I want this one more time.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get it.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
I really loved Matt Riddle's springboard RKO.
I
yes.
freaking love Matt Riddle.
Yeah, he's so good. And I'm admittedly late to the party on Randy Orton in general. Like, it took me until probably like 2014 or 15 to like really start to appreciate him.
Oh yeah.
But I honestly, he's just rising as one of probably the greatest of all time. And
Agreed.
I mean, again, probably late to the party on stating that, but just him and Riddle together is such a fun team. And you can tell Orton's having the time of his life right now.
That's what I was going to say. Like, that's what really helps is you can tell he's legitimately having fun because at this point in his career, he's already done it all.
Exactly.
And, I mean, yeah, like, I agree with you. Like, I've always enjoyed Randy Orton, especially heel Randy Orton. But yeah, it wasn't until probably within the last 5-6 years where I finally started to appreciate him. Like, this guy might be secretly one of the best wrestlers to ever be in WWE.
Yeah, and it's just all the little things, the little facial expressions. Like, he just does everything really, really well.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if you watched, Ryan, but I think you did, Soda. He was on McAfee a week ago.
Yeah, I watched some of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he was really interesting on there because a couple of things he did. I mean, he started the interview with saying that he's having the most fun he's ever had.
Yeah.
He thinks Riddle's the greatest thing ever. He thinks it's just the best. He also stated that he's going to wrestle 10 more years.
I believe
he wants to wrestle till he's 50. So that's 8. And he said pretty much that his, like, without saying it, but saying it, like, he wants to be the new Taker. Like, he wants to be the guy that's relied upon, put in the big show, and is like the elder that people look up to.
I think he's already there.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, and if you just look at the style of wrestling that he doesn't take a lot of silly bumps. His offense can be taken by anyone, clearly. And his promos are always top notch.
Which is surprising because I don't know if you guys watched his Broken Skull sessions, but he said that's only been from the last couple of years. Like he said himself, he was shit at promos for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's great. So fun,
especially in those Evolution days. He was never very good.
Right. Oh yeah.
No.
Ooh, great to watch, but like that Mick Foley match with the hardcore match, Backlash.
Won that meet organ.
Yeah. I think one of the last few times they've done a pay-per-view in Canada.
Huh.
Next one that I can remember is Survivor Series when Goldberg returned.
Oh, that was in
next
Canada?
One I can remember pay-per-view in Canada. That was in Toronto. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, Toronto. Yeah, makes sense.
And like the thing in 1997 is like every other week they were doing Monday Night Raw in Canada.
Okay. Can we talk?
It was the hot time.
Right?
Let's just talk about the match that me and Soda were the most excited for, and that's Johnny Knoxville. So
goddamn right. Yes. It's like watching Jackass in the wrestling ring. Like it was just, who else would have the idea to pin your opponent with a giant mousetrap?
Oh, God.
Absolutely brilliant. And to just to go back to like 04, 05, when I'm wrestling for IWA Mid-South, just outside Chicago, Illinois, sitting there, and there's El Generico and Kevin Steen at the time. To think that they were going to be in 2 of the matches that stole the show in 2022 WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That's such a mind fuck for me. But this match was so fun. And Sami Zayn was the perfect guy to be in this.
Agreed, because he's all into it. Like he's another guy that you will be the reliable guy.
Yes.
Yeah. And he's all in. He's fully bought in.
Like,
and that's what made it work.
Was beautiful. I love watching that package they showed before it. Especially when the phone calls, man. Like that was perfect.
I mean, the phone call thing is hilarious. All the buildup was great. I'm like, they used social media for it. It was
and Knoxville playing along with it on Twitter, not on Twitter, on Instagram. And the one that made me laugh was he hired this guy to like be Sami Zayn. But the one that made me laugh was the Sami Zayn was doing the bench press, and Johnny Knoxville just walks up and takes off his shoe and just fucking whips it as nuts.
I love it.
Like it felt so Attitude Era too. All that build up, all that funny stuff. But how about the Wee Man Slam? That was such a great spot.
Who thought he could get Sami Zayn up like that? Like
and the fact that Sami could take it. Yeah, he got full whatever. I don't know the lingo, but like he got full plank position, like a real body slam.
He posted perfectly.
There you go. Yeah. I was like, this is amazing.
It was a picture perfect suplex.
Like, I couldn't believe the, like, really of night 2. That's the moment of the night. That moment is still coming up randomly on my like Facebook and like Twitter. Is the
also the boot to his face.
Oh, dude, that boot was brutal.
But that's the perfect thing. It's all the Jackass guys. They've had way worse done to them.
That was when they first announced Knoxville for like the Rumble, and people were all pissed about it. That was what I kept telling people. I'm like, it's believable because I just watched Knoxville get his brain scrambled by a bull.
Yeah.
Him going into the Royal Rumble and getting hit by AJ is way less.
And taking all those finishers.
Yeah.
No problem.
Get out of here. That's why it was believable. These guys do dumb shit.
And probably my favorite Jackass spot ever was the giant hand.
Yes, I was like, please just fucking get. Like my thing was, I want to see them run to the back and brawl, and that Sammy would take it. But even here, like that moment when Bam gets hit, Jackass number 3 is still one of my favorite moments.
Yes, clean taken off his face. But did you guys see any of the? There's a tweet or a meme out there somewhere that says like, "Finally, Mae Young's son has debuted."
Yes, I saw that. Yeah. Mark Henry, Mae Young's son, all grown up. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
to see Party Boy like Pontius get in and strip down into the fall, I'm like,
Actually did it. When he was doing it, I'm not gonna lie to you. Did anybody else have that thought of like, this is so WWE? They have him in the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
jumpsuit. No, and there's gonna be. And when he took his clothes off, I'm like, all right,
There you go.
this is the best.
The
I
only
love
one
everything about
that
this.
wasn't there was Steve-O. I thought he would have been there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Like they even had Jeff Tremaine.
yeah, it was cool that the director was there. I
Yeah.
was excited for that. But yeah, that
Yeah,
was so fun.
Oh, yeah.
I was into it. I don't care.
Yeah, agree.
Knoxville whipped that bowling ball.
Yes.
Oh
he
yeah,
did.
for sure.
Yes, he
that was a 7-10 split right up the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. And like the Sammy trying to do the top rope thing, and Knoxville like on his ground just pulls out the fucking trigger.
Oh yeah, that was great. That's clever.
That was
Air
so
horn
well
was
done.
another clever one. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
those
Yep.
are funny. It's funny. It's stupid.
The boot.
Oh
yeah,
god,
the,
yeah.
the
The
boot
boot
thing.
was great.
Oh god, so
The
dumb.
only thing I was like, Knoxville should know how to do this better was when he was beating Sammy with a stop sign. I'm like, that just looks awkward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great though. I was
Wonderful.
excited, and I'm glad I got it.
Yeah, me
It
too.
was
Like
perfect.
I'm Knoxville can retire now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
that was
get it.
just like perfect because that could have either gone just super shit or
Could've
perfect.
gone
There was going to be
so
no
bad.
in between.
But
But-
I in my heart I knew it wouldn't go that way just because of who was involved. Like Knoxville's a
Sure.
pro. He does this stuff, like we said, on a regular basis. And Sami Zayn is the consummate professional.
Yep.
Like he'll give it 110% even if he thinks it's dumb.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, and then like the next match that, like, I mean, we could talk about the Fatal 4-Way for the tag team title, the women's tag team titles match, but there was really nothing special in there.
Mhm.
The next night we got the breakup between Carmella and Zelina, and it was just like that was dumb.
whatever.
Yeah. What a waste.
Yeah,
Well,
I was like, okay, I don't want to see Carmella and Corey Graves smack out on camera. That's just
Yeah.
But then we got Edge and AJ Styles and Edge's entrance, man. Oh my god, that was
So
badass.
cool.
So cool.
Yeah. So cool. I'm a big fan of What Culture, and I was watching Simon Miller's vlog, and to see it from the crowd was just so dope.
Yeah,
So dope.
yeah. What did you guys think of the match? Because I mean, I was really excited, and I don't know if it was because night one was so great. Night two felt different. I was already wrestling exhausted. I also saw it once it ended. The Priest thing happened. It very much to me was like, okay, WrestleMania so much is a bookend, right? We always think it's a bookend, but once in a while it's not. And that match was the beginning chapter.
Agreed.
And so like I was like, okay, I get it. They can't go all out if they're going to continue this for a few months. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I was like, I get it.
I'm actually in the same boat as Justin here. Like I really enjoyed the match. It's just for me, it was slower than I thought it would be. Like slower technically.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it suffered a little bit from just kind of overall card placement.
Yeah.
And I think it started to suffer from just the crowd getting tired.
Yeah. Tired.
Which is, it's like, yeah, this wasn't too nice, but it still is a risk you have to deal with.
Right.
Because how many people did the 2-night package too? So
I
there's
wouldn't
60. Say give or take 65,000 people in the arena.
Yeah.
Yep.
At least half.
Yeah.
Were there both nights.
Right.
Yeah, like I
That's
plan
a
on
lot.
doing like the $12,000 package that covers everything, and it's even got all like flights and hotels and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I will do that before I die.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't think there was much going on here. It's not memorable to me.
It was the longest match of both nights at 24 minutes and 5 seconds.
It felt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were some great spots. That superplex to the apron was insane.
Oh
was
my
a good
lord.
one.
Yeah. It's like Edge, man. Like broken. You shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, dude.
I
Like you
know.
don't have to prove with these kind of bumps, man.
I
Like
know.
that would have been a safer bump to take a suplex from the apron to the floor. That would have been safer.
Dude,
With
Edge
how that mat
Sorry.
is so mushy on the outside. Don't take
Well,
the apron.
yeah,
bump.
but I mean, like where they did it, if I'm not mistaken, it's mostly girders, where and then the 2x8s kind of
Yeah.
connect, right? Like they're
Yeah,
literally
that's-
the hardest part of the ring.
That's the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah.
Like the idea is to get as close to the center of the ring as possible. That's going to be the most comfortable spot. It still hurts, but apron bumps are they're brutal and they get the reaction, and it's a well-deserved reaction, but
Yeah.
it's so unnecessary.
Is it worth the price?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that gets overlooked in that too is that Styles took a pretty sick bump with that too. You know, he's going backwards blind, taking that bump, and it's just.
And you've got what, like 10 inches, maybe? How wide is that?
You've got about a foot to 14 inches, depending on the ring. But I mean, it's not a lot. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, like kudos to them. But
it's a WrestleMania bump.
It's a WrestleMania bump, and I actually got to admit, I like the finish. Like, not the priest part, but I like the
finish.
Spear. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And AJ didn't hit, like, even go back to the Styles, flip, whatever. I can't think of the name because it's 10:30 and I'm exhausted already. But like, he goes for the Styles Clash, doesn't hit it, and I'm like, because they saved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, they saved this. Because the fact that he even got Edge in the full position to do it means that they are okay doing it, which, the WWE is not thrilled on the Styles Clash move.
Yeah.
They've only let him hit it like 3 times.
Speaking of not being thrilled with matches, so I was watching Dynamite before this, and Samoa Joe wrestled his first match for AEW. You know what he fucking won on?
Styles Clash?
The Muscle Buster.
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
He hasn't done since he broke Tyson Kidd's neck.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And that was
I don't think I would do a move that I broke someone's neck with anymore.
No.
Well, that one, that was like such a fluke from what I hear. Like, it looked like he took it fine. It's just his neck got fucked up.
Yeah, shit happens. Yeah. It's wrestling. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, so now we should go to my other favorite part, which is Pat McAfee.
Well, I was gonna say, let's skip over the Sheamus New Day match, because that was
whatever.
A minute 40.
Whatever. It didn't need to be on Mania anyway. I give Mania credit for this now. One thing that I've always complained about, and I'm sure we all kind of have, some people don't, but I do. I used to hate those long Manias where they shoved every single talent
35
on the show. I'm sorry, I don't care that Ricochet. I don't care that Finn Balor. I don't care that any of these people weren't on the show. Sorry, I don't. And that's another match. I understand that they felt bad it got cut. Whoops. Do it on Raw.
If anything, put it on the pre-show, man. Like, you need like 2 hours of video packages.
Yes, I get it. I just get it. Like, it's so bad. And
And then, like, you did the New Day dirty by having them lose in a minute 40. Like, come on.
Yeah. Awful.
I think
and like Justin just said, like, also Vince versus Pat was not needing a waste of time. Pure Vince. Not really. I wouldn't say pure Vince ego trick. That was mostly for the Austin stuff. If it would have been an ego trip if Austin hadn't shown up, but because it was not for Austin.
In all honesty, I think they were doing the Vince Pat thing with or without Austin.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I wish they did.
It went too long. I don't really know why it had to be all of the things.
Yeah.
I can't believe that it was the issue I had with so speaking of Pat in Theory was awesome.
Oh, for sure.
Forget what an athlete Pat is. I mean, to do the leap to the top rope and the backflip.
A standing leap. And he did crouch landed. He landed standing up.
Yeah, that's the Shelton Benjamin move. And everybody thinks it's crazy when Shelton does it. And it's like,
that's a difficult box jump.
That's a tough
white man can jump.
Right. And I love Theory. So like I'm like all into this. And that's the thing, it was such a 50-50 bag, right? Like you had this really fun match, super fun. Love Pat, love Theory. And then you have this Vince McMahon shit, who again, for 76 years old, looks amazing.
Yeah. But you can tell he's starting, like his physique he's kind of like Jack LaLanne at this point. Like you can tell he's ripped, but he's like old ripped.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's
Did you guys? And if you didn't notice this, go back and look. But they totally Vince messed up and totally gave away that something was happening because Austin Theory's music hits when he's raising his hand, and Vince is like,
"Oh yeah, that's right, I saw that."
Yeah, he puts out like, "Okay, here comes
shit
Austin."
That was pretty funny.
What a fail!
That was hilarious. And then 2 seconds later, boom!
It
Austin.
gave us the best and worst stunner of all fucking time. Like so much so it even popped Austin. Like he laughed.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because Vince back in 97, 98 took that first stunner from Austin.
Yeah.
That was shit.
That's so bad.
And that was Vince was
never
30
thought
years
it was
younger.
pop, and somehow he did it. But it kind of seems appropriate though. Like if this is the last time we're going to see Vince and Austin in the ring like this, it only makes sense that they bookended it with the 2 worst stunners of all time.
Yeah.
And I will admit, the thing that saved it from being a complete is Austin's reaction.
Yeah, just like,
I mean, the fact that he literally gets up from it and is dying laughing, and
Yeah.
legit dying laughing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't like a work dying. I mean, he's literally like, this is so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I love Theory's sell of the stunner
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Theory
It was
with the
very
best-
good.
Scott Stall or
With
Scott
the
Hall.
It was
best
a mix of Scott Hall and The
style.
Rock.
Yeah.
And kudos to Pat McAfee for doing the Shane McMahon.
Yep. Just up and
Spitting
down.
out.
Which, in my opinion, is still the best stunner, the Shane McMahon stunner,
Yeah.
where he does the beer. But McAfee
Yeah.
did it pretty well too. And then they cut to McAfee, like supposedly
Yes.
slapped on the ground. He's just fucking drinking beer.
The beer was so funny.
McAfee.
I watched McAfee on Monday morning, and he
He looked
not
like he
only
was
did he have a
struggling.
he
Yeah.
was. Did you watch it? He was.
I
so
saw a clip.
He was so hungover because he admitted that he was wasted after drinking all the beer. He said that he's his body's dehydrated,
Yeah.
and he's just slamming beers with Austin.
Yeah.
And then of course he went out afterwards. And then he had a huge bruise on his arm, and he goes, which this, Ryan, but he goes, in his McAfee voice, he goes, that bump where I just hit Theory on the rope. Let's just say I did it wrong, and I spoke the rope with my arm, and this is the bruise it gave me. And it was this huge
God.
welt on his arm just from hitting
Yeah.
the rope.
I've had
wrong.
so many rope welts over the years. I get them under my underarm anytime I do like the stop.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll get one underneath my right arm. Usually it's just anytime I go to do the stop when I've been shouting at the ropes, it's almost a guarantee.
Reading Mick Foley's book, hearing him describe the first time he hit the ropes and like bruised his kidneys, I was like, oh, that just sounds painful.
Yeah.
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 Oof.
Yeah, I love Mick Foley's books. A lot of it's like, I think that's kind of what it turned me off to like even trying.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think, I don't know, Ryan, you might know better. Do they still do that as like I know how wrestling training has changed over the last 20 years, but is
Yeah.
that running the rope thing still a thing? Because I remember that was like, I've read enough books and like autobiographies where that's always one where they run you so hard that your arm, like right here, is just purple and blue because you've hit the rope so many times.
They'll run you a fair amount. So when I first started, luckily I took pretty well to a lot of the basics really quickly, and I think that got me out of doing a lot of the excess running and the excess cardio. But I've gone to the local academy here that's run by Ken Anderson a number of times, and he's got those kids running. They do so much cardio, and it's insane that, I can see where that would be an issue. But luckily for me, that was not the case. A lot of bumping. Like there were a couple times I got my ass bumped for like 45 minutes straight.
Do they still do the practicing of the flat back bump where you're kind of like in squat position and then you flat back like that? Do they still do that?
That's day one right there. It's
I
tuck your chin, throw your arms back, and slap the mat.
I used to do that for fun as a 9-year-old. I would like get a running start, and I would no joke like just a full front flip, and I would do that as landing. No wonder my back's fucked.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then we got
the
big
main event.
The main event, great build up. Brock, our boy Brock, it's my favorite Brock. I'm in that camp.
I love this Brock.
Love Roman Reigns. Like I think he finally hit his groove. But the match, from what I hear, this is the only match I didn't get a chance to watch yet. I heard it was underwhelming.
It is.
The finish is just really flat, and I feel like there was some audible called during the match.
Do you think there's some truth to Roman getting injured?
I think there's a lot of truth to Roman getting injured.
Yeah, his shoulder looked pretty messed up.
Yeah,
there's a noticeable, like at one point, like giant bump on his arm.
Yeah, and you hear on the audio if you watch whenever you do watch it, Soda, like he tells Heyman, the audio catches him talking to Paul, saying something about his shoulder.
Yeah, he's like, it's popped out, it's popped out, it's out.
And
what did it happen? Was it the Kimura lock?
It happened somewhere in that time zone.
He was complaining about it after they did a spot where Roman hits a spear, but Lesnar holds on in the Kimura. They sat in it for a good probably 2-3 minutes.
And there's probably a reason why they sat in it for 2-3 minutes. Because
I love Paul Heyman as a heel though, because Roman's like just an inch away from.
Oh, that
from
was the
ropes,
best part of the match.
And you see Heyman's hand come into the screen and push the rope ever so gently so Roman can grab it, and then Heyman's still in full on character. Get up, my tribal chief. Get up, my tribal chief. And Roman's like, it's out, it's out, it's out. Like he couldn't, whether or not it was a work or not, him holding the belts, he couldn't even lift.
Yeah, and he couldn't as well. Like it looked. Don't get me wrong, it looked pretty badass, but you could tell it. There was a little bit.
Well, and the other thing is the other reason why I think Audible was called is the show ended
early,
like 17 minutes early,
and
I was like, something's off here. And then there's depending on how much you put into the reports, there's reports that Lesnar was shaking up pretty hard in the match too with a couple spots, because you got to give Brock and Roman one thing is when they hit each other, they do it pretty intense.
Yeah. Well, you have to be like that going in against Brock. Like that's just you want to survive.
That's what he does. If he's gonna, I'll give Brock credit, which I'm sure Ryan, you like this about him. He's gonna hit you hard, but you can hit him hard back.
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
That's why him and Braun worked so well. Like that spot at that one Royal Rumble where he punched, just cold cocked him right in the fucking face. He's like, slow down.
That was after Strowman kneed him in the face.
I
just love the slow-mo that he just
need him right in the face like a moron.
But one thing I guess I hadn't really noticed before, and this was back when Roman was still, wearing the chest piece. But when they were standing face to face with hard cam this way, Roman is every bit as big as Brock is. Maybe not as wide, but like tall and jacked. Like they are very even looking. It's impressive how big and like in good a shape Roman has gotten over the last like 3-4 months.
Dude, I really understand why they did this match 3 times. Like it makes sense. Like these two are gonna go down as probably two of the like each other's biggest rivals. Brock obviously gotta have some more like with Kurt Angle and stuff like that. But, excuse me. But
but it is a tough thing when this huge, the build's been great. And again, Soda and I, we happened to talk about this last week. We ranked our favorite WrestleMania main events, and we put Brock Roman from 2017?
31.
At our 4th favorite main event of WrestleMania history. Like that was, I think, where we were at.
It's still the best one for sure.
Because it's still the best one by a mile because they're hard hitting, they're fast, but they were in such different parts of their career. Brock was the hardcore Brock at the time, and Roman was the guy that people hated, kind of. And so, like, they had this great build. What match could they do? Like, I was a little underwhelmed, like, as a guy who defends Brock, which you both know. I'm a huge Brock guy. I defend him. I was really shocked at the fact that there was nothing new here. Like, where was the, like, come on.
Not surprised.
I'm a little surprised by it. I was shocked. I'm like, really? You guys did the same thing again? Come on.
Yeah.
At least this puts the nail in this coffin, too. Like, this is done.
Do you think it is really done?
I think it's done for a foreseeable future.
Okay. But here's the thing: if Roman's injured, who the hell are you going to put the belt on?
So we might as well get to that. If reports are right,
that he's announcing on Friday night that he's out for 3 to 6 months.
That's every report out there.
Mm-hmm.
What in the fuck are they going to do?
That's WWE completely painted themselves in a corner with this, because like if you remember, like when Austin went out with his broken neck in '99, you had The Rock, you had Triple H, you had the Big Show to a degree, you had Kurt Angle, you had Chris Benoit, you had Chris Jericho, you had all these people that could take the load.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who do you have?
You don't have that top heel,
or babyface.
Right, or babyface. You have an underwhelming, strong to super strong mid Carter.
Yeah.
That's why I think
they put all their baskets in one guy. Understandable. And look where it got us. But
unless they throw an outrageous amount of money at Brock, he's going home to Saskatchewan for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Good luck getting hold of him because it takes him, like I heard, a mile to get to his phone.
Yeah. Until SummerSlam rolls around, he's probably sitting at home.
Yeah.
But so like where do you, and I mean, you can't do Cody. Because that defeats the purpose of what's going on. So really, you're stuck, as I said earlier.
One that is actually has enough status to do it, but I agree, it is way too soon.
I mean, I think you're stuck with. again, they have not figured out the belt thing yet either, so I don't really know what the hell's going on with that. If it's 1 or 2, nobody knows. They've just kind of let it happen. But
And
let's just say
make it a WWE title. Like, no offense to the Universal title.
Yeah.
WWE is the one that should be the.
So I think this is where I told so today. I think they play it safe. They go Drew.
Yeah.
I think Drew's
Drew or
the easy
Seth?
choice. And I think Seth's
would
the
be
other
good.
one. If they're going to split
would be
these
good.
belts back up, because I think the storyline would be split the belts back up. Roman comes back and takes them both back.
Oh yeah.
He like say
I like
Roman
that.
and say Drew and Seth both have one of the belts. Roman comes back in 5 months and says, "I want that belt, and I want that belt, and I'm going to take them both." And it's Roman. How do you put Roman way back ahead of everyone? Have him take them both.
That's really smart.
I don't know. That's just my fantasy
Do it
booking.
for fun in a triple threat, winner take all.
Yeah, something like that. Like, so it's just right now it's Drew, Seth. I mean, Bobby's a babyface now.
Yeah.
God,
And he did lose in a shitty way.
boring. Yeah.
Babyface Bobby though.
Babyface.
Babyface.
I like
Babyface. I do like
Babyface
Babyface.
champion. I don't buy.
No.
God, me
It's
either.
going to be weird seeing him as a face without MVP now that MVP's
What
turned on with almost, which
terrible
makes sense. But
who is going to get behind that? Give me a break.
I do think doing that for almost makes a lot of sense in the world because he's not the best talker. He's not that great of a ring. And I mean, like MVP, we all know Bobby Lashley had it in him, but look where Bobby Lashley was at the beginning of the fucking Hurt Business. He just come off an angle where he was married.
And I like MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up on the WrestleMania and everything on the weekend, did either of you guys watch Hall of Fame stuff?
Oh, yeah, of course. There's no way I was in the Hall of Fame. None at all.
Yeah, I know. You're a worker, Ryan. You're not supposed to care about the Hall of Fame. That's an unwritten rule.
A little bit, yeah. But mostly it always drags on, and like I'll go back and watch the Taker speech.
You should.
You should. Best speech I've ever heard, and I didn't think anything would pass Bobby Heenan's.
Yeah.
Did you
Taker's speech was good.
Did you guys see Foley's daughter like bitching about him not getting mentioned?
But yes, bitching, but then she added a subtext was like, I really shouldn't complain because my dad forgot my mom in his Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part, but
that's a
fair point.
I honestly didn't notice it, but I mean, if somebody was going to get forgotten. Yeah.
Okay, but they've also talked about that match ad nauseum for 25 years.
Right.
I think we're okay.
Yeah. And me, I love watching the Hall of Fame just because, like I said, amateur historian and all that stuff, and it's because it's nice to see my legends, my legends, my generation of wrestlers get their final due. That's why it was fun to
see
the Steiners. I was shocked that they didn't actually have a proper somebody to induct Vader. I thought for sure they would have gone Foley. They just went straight to Jesse and his mom, which I thought was a little weird.
Yeah.
But they had the Mastodon mask, which is pretty cool. That's when the speeches were handed over and they had the original Mastodon mask.
Hell yeah.
That was cool.
Queen Charmel, I didn't realize just how much I respected her. And I think, honestly, hers was the best delivered speech. It felt like a speech, and it felt genuine. It was pretty cool. And to see Booker cry his eyes out when she said, like, you're my fairy tale come true. Like, I'm just a sucker for all this stuff. I also may have been high.
It closes out the main event Mafia all being in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, right. I saw that. Isn't that that's pretty funny?
Kurt Angle, sweet. Scott Steiner, Booker T. Yeah.
Charmel.
Hall and Nash.
Hall and Nash, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I saw that tweet.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, I think they finally hit the right way to do the Hall of Fame presentation. I know they tried it in 2019.
I was gonna say, Ryan, they sped this Hall of Fame up, by the way.
Yeah. And that's the main reason why I don't watch them, because I feel like they are always 3-4 hours long.
So long.
Nobody got time for that.
Well, they had to because they knew Taker was gonna. They would have given Taker like an unlimited time limit, and I'm glad they did. It felt like watching a one-man show, is how I would describe it.
Sure.
Well, what they did was really smart. It was a 2-hour show. They had a time limit.
Live.
They busted everything out in the first hour, and then they gave Taker the second hour.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is how all Hall of Fames going forward should be. Is this? This is how it goes.
He roasted Godfather.
I love Godfather.
And my favorite line of the night is when he's talking about Paul Bearer. He's just like how he used to rib it. It's like, I couldn't leave a drink alone because I'd come back and there'd be cucumbers in there. Who puts cucumbers in a drink? An evil man. That's who.
I did
Pretty
see the
cool.
bit where he thanked Triple H. That's the only bit of his,
Yeah.
of his talk that I saw.
Yeah, you think
which was
Triple
pretty
H, thanks
cool.
Shawn Michaels, because in reality, those are easily his best WrestleMania matches.
Absolutely.
But no, I was just saying, like, I like how they did the setup this year in terms of the presentation, because I know in 2019 they tried the ring thing. I liked it, but I know it just didn't work. But this year, having the boys and girls on the stage and having the inductees go through them, I thought that makes sense.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, the other part that I think you might have seen on Twitter, Ryan, but is when Taker goes back up the aisle. There's a shot of like Orton, because he's kind of the main guy. They sat right in front, and like there's like a general like actual true happiness, because it's Orton. He's pretty stoic, and people are like, that's nice to see. Like you can see it.
Yeah,
that
nice.
Orton's like, this is cool. Like this is pretty cool that this is happening.
Nice.
But
yeah.
Other than that,
I'll go back and watch that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, it's a must. It's a must to watch this week, because you're finally meeting Mark Calloway.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and just I love all the the interviews he's done with, like, on Hot Ones or on Joe Rogan, just to
the character with Ryan Satin is a good one.
Yeah, so for so long, he was the best kept secret character. So to get to know the man a little bit is cool and kind of awkward at the same time, but it's far cooler than awkward.
When Vince McMahon was like, and now our newest inductee, like the crowd stood, like I felt it right here. I'm like, this is special. Like this is gonna be so special. There aren't many events where it's like, I wish I'd have been there. I wish I was there for this.
Yeah, and to have Vince inducting, like, that just shows you how.
And you could audibly hear Taker tell him, "I love you" when they met.
Yeah, they definitely did that. The microphone picked that up. That was cool.
Nice.
He got the longest ovation I've ever heard in a WWE ring since Hogan in Montreal in 02.
Yeah. Well deserved.
Yeah, it was cool.
6 or 7 minutes ovation.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was
a cool moment.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's moments like Dustyn was said a few other times about WrestleMania. It's moments like that make me glad I'm a fan.
Hell yeah,
not often.
His career is 3 years younger than me, as the Undertaker.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, so what's the wrap up, Soda? What's the final?
Well, okay. Where would you guys rank this up in terms of WrestleManias? Like, is it the top third, middle third, or lower third? For me, I'd probably put it in the middle of the lower end of the top third, because the second I kind of brought it down a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I wouldn't necessarily. It's pushing top 10. I would say easily top 15 Manias of all time. Probably 12. I mean, nothing's ever going to beat WrestleMania 9.
The only thing I can tell you I really love about 9 is I really like the concept of the arena.
It's fun.
Yeah.
The rest of the show's bad.
Yeah.
Bad.
The show's terrible. But
it's bad. I'm always on the thing of like, what would I remember from it? And if I can remember more than one thing, that's a making of a good Mania.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I feel like things that'll stick in my brain is like Cody. I know I'll remember Bianca and Becky.
Austin coming back.
I'll remember the Austin, and I'll probably remember Knoxville. Those are probably the 4 moments that I will take with me.
And the horrible McMahon stunner.
Yeah. But like those are like the moments and like just kind of the thoughts I will have. And I'm like, if they can give me 3 or 4, that's
honestly good. One thing I really appreciate about it that may seem kind of negative, but there was no Rock. And I'm okay with that. Yeah. This show did not need any help from The Rock.
No.
I think we need to figure out how to stop this, The Rock thing. I wish he would just come out and say, I am not going to do this.
Oh, you need the speculation.
We are always on it. It's always a thing at every show the last 2 years since Roman's been on top. Is Rock coming out here? Is he here? Is he showing up there?
Yeah.
Where is he? Let's stop this. Like it's just
put it to bed. Do it or don't.
Yeah. At some point,
but
and I mean, if in all honesty, in my head, I'm like, this is WrestleMania 38, 40's in 2 years. I mean, next year's in LA. Let's throw that out there.
Yeah.
but
Hollywood, yeah.
Hollywood is a big shtick. I don't know. They have 2 years. They have to get this done if they're going to do it.
Hey, Vince,
Yeah.
for 40, I dare you to go back to MSG.
He won't. Too small.
No,
And
way
you know
too
what's
small.
small.
Those WrestleManias, I'm not going to lie. There's just something special about the arena WrestleManias. Really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They need
When was the last
70,000
one we
people.
had? Was it 22 in Chicago?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after that it was all arenas. Yeah, I was actually kind of miffed that for 30 they were in New Orleans. It's like you should have been in New York for that one, not 29.
Yeah, that's all right.
Like when the hell they coming to Minnesota or US Bank Stadium?
I know. I can't believe that. Freaking Vikings build a brand new stadium that holds 60,000 people. They won't fucking bring Brady up here.
You're bitching. When is it coming back to Canada? It's been
You've had it before.
Twice.
Exactly. Can't get Minnesota at the US Bank Stadium. Come on.
We've gotten extreme rules.
That's true. I went to bragging rights.
I went to Go Home Raw right before bragging rights.
Yeah, that's right.
Only events I've ever attended. But the cool thing was Bret Hart came out in the corner of whoever the face was in the dark match. So I got to see Bret the Hart live in Calgary. In Calgary.
Granted, the Minnesota guy, I was too young. I wasn't there. I don't know if you were, Ryan. Minnesota did get the Jesse Ventura SummerSlam.
Yeah, I actually one of my favorite things. Bret Hart was actually one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Still is to this day. I saw him. On. What's that?
I have Bret Hart shorts on right now.
Ooh, gross. I saw him at the Fargo Dome, Fargo, North Dakota. He wrestled. It was the exact same finish as King of the Ring versus Bam Bam Bigelow. And this is when he was heavyweight champion at the time. He came out after winning the match, belt strapped over his shoulder right in front of me. I wrapped my arms around the Hitman. So cool.
Nice.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
It was dope. I didn't get the glasses though, unfortunately. Had to go I didn't have to. My dad bought me some.
All right. Favorite Hart match?
Favorite Hart match. Go.
It's hard to choose, isn't it?
I really like his Intercontinental title win over Mr. Perfect.
Oh, great match.
I love Mr. Perfect is one of the ultimate just sellers of the business. Super underrated.
But with an injured back.
What's that?
And to hear he did it with an injured back as well.
Yeah, and just the ripping off of the singlet and all that. But I just think that's a really great technical match, and that's I think that was Brett's first Intercontinental win.
Yeah, that was his first singles win. Yeah.
And so I mean that was back when the Intercontinental title was like you get that and you're going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, I lean towards the steel cage match against Owen at SummerSlam '94 because it's not often two people pull off a great cage match without actually involving the cage really.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I do have to take that back. Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, WrestleMania 8.
I was just gonna say Piper Bret's so great.
And the build up to that.
Mm-hmm. Piper's best match too.
Oh, easily, and to see him as about to hit Bret with the belt to go back to his old ways, and it's like,
It's such a great finish too out of the sleeper hold.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, pretty much became a signature of Bret because I know he did it to Austin in '96.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait. Can't think of any other better way to end the show than on a conversation about Bret the Hitman Hart. Thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. You're more than welcome back on the show because this was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I'd love to.
Yeah. So where can everybody find you on the internet? And if anybody wants, like myself, wants to look you up your matches on YouTube, how do we find them?
Yeah, you can just look for Ryan Cruz, CRUZ on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Cruz Shakalaka, CRUZSHAKALAKA, Cruz Shakalaka.
And also, don't you have some sort of show or radio? Don't you have a show or something you do?
I do. I have a pop culture podcast. It's on the 4D Podcast Network. It's 4dpodcast.com. It's CultureCast Radio. You can find us live every Thursday.
Right on. I'll definitely be checking into that because I'm a pop culture whore.
Yeah. We talk movies, music, television. We make dick jokes, and it's great.
Right up my alley.
I like it.
Dick jokes anymore, but
I like it.
Yeah. And all right, Dustyn, what about you?
Dustyn Buke on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me here every Wednesday, and that's about it. Everything else I do is local. It's not fun for all these other people out there. So that's it.
If you live in the area, go harass Dustyn.
Yeah, if you live in the Wisconsin area, you can listen to my podcast, the Downtown Manon podcast that I do. If that's interesting to a small geographical region.
Wait, is that a legit podcast?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a podcast, Downtown Manon, the podcast, twice a month. You can find us on Spotify. We just talk to cool people that live in the area I live in. So
That's pretty
what I
yeah.
do. Yeah, it's a good
Nice.
show. What about you, Soda?
So you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me here Wednesday nights on the Scored Slice. You can find me Thursdays on Rewind the Tape, where my friend Ben and I, we just go back and we talk about old movies. Tomorrow night, we're starting the Indiana Jones series.
Ooh, I'm jumping on for that.
Oh, yeah, it's so great. Well, actually, if you're available, you can come on with us.
Ooh, I might have to.
7 o'clock tomorrow night.
How many are you doing all of them or just one?
We're doing one movie at a time.
Ooh, you should count me in for Last Crusade. I fucking love Last
top 5
Such a good
movies
movie.
for me. I have the poster framed in my living room.
I used to have the poster framed in my office.
And then on Saturdays, I'm also on Northern Countdown, which is our top 5 show weekly. And then on also on Saturdays in the afternoon, you can find me on the Dropkicks on the Let's Get Ready Network, where myself and Dagan, who was at Dynamite tonight, that bastard, we just talk about what's happened in the week and stuff like that. And also, you can find me on the second edition of the Let's Get Ready Wrestling Rumble Trivia, where I defended my title yesterday.
Nice.
Really good match, went down to the wire. I highly checked that out. It was a lot of fun. Mike Sempervive for Wrestling Observer was a part of it. The man I beat for the title the first time. Definitely go check that out. It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So on behalf of myself and Ryan, once again, thank you very much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We will see you next week between the ropes in the middle of the ring on the Squared Slice. See you next week, guys.